Hey everybody, welcome to Take Heart today. I want us to look together at the impact that our words can have. This is something that God's been reminding me of during these days. And James has a really interesting passage on this in James chapter 3 verse 3. He says this: "When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body." And he goes on to say a little later, "It is a restless evil full of deadly poison." Pretty strong stuff from James there. But one of the points he's making is that we can tend to dismiss our words, dismiss the kind of the power that they have. And I do that because I think, you know what, we say thousands of words every day. We speak them out or we tap them out on our phones. And they're cheap and they're free and they're easy to do. And, most of us don't remember most of the things that we say. And so because of all of that, we can be dismissive of their impact. They seem small and therefore unimportant. But what James is using these illustrations for is he's saying, think about the little bit of metal you put in the mouth of a massive horse and then you steer the whole animal. Think about the tiny little rudder that sits at the back of a gigantic ship and steers the whole ship. Think about the size of like a spark, just a tiny little spark that can set a whole forest on fire. Forest that has been standing there for hundreds of years can get burned down. Trace it back to the little spark. It seems small, but it has this disproportionate impact to its size. So it is with the tongue. So it is with our words. They can seem to us to be small, but they have a huge impact. He says your words can, they will, and they are currently shaping the course of your life. And in what he's saying particularly here, he's talking about the way that can be really negative, and talks about how words can be poisonous, it's such an on-point image for destructive words because they work just like poison. If someone puts a little bit of poison in your cup of tea and you drink it and then walk away from them, on the surface you look the same. But what's happened is you've taken inside of yourself this destructive substance and it begins to eat away at you from the inside out. Well, that's what words are like. So someone can say something or comment on something online in a really negative way. And on the surface, we don't look any different when we've heard that. But we know that inside that's begun to have an effect on us. Not always, but often it can. It can begin to destroy us from the inside out. So he's talking about words being used in a negative way and obviously trying to encourage us to do the opposite. Elsewhere in the Bible, there's actually quite a lot about words. And in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21, we're told that the tongue has the power of life and death. And so I thought, why not consider the ways in which our tongue can bring life to people? I find it a bit staggering just to sit here and think my tongue has the power of death, but it also has the power of life. And so does yours. So each of us, we have the power to bring life to other people. That's within our power because our words have that kind of power. Or they can. And, I don't know if you've ever been on the receiving end of encouragement or affirmation. Perhaps you're a teacher and you're having a really hard grind one term, not least this one. And then someone takes you aside and they say, whether it's another teacher or it's a parent or a student, they say, just want to say thank you and just say that you are making such a difference in my life. And, I really appreciate the way that you do this for us, even though I know it costs you. What a difference that makes to your day and to your week. If you're a parent, maybe of teenagers, you may well find the main words that they say is, how's your day been? What are you doing tonight? And then maybe one day it's like as if the clouds part and the sun shines through, and suddenly they just look at you and they just say, hey, Mum or Dad, I just thank you for all that you do for me. I just so appreciate it. I really love you. And it's like, if you're a parent, you can live off that for months and months. And then they go, again. But just those words, they can give you life, can't they? In the same way that if you've had a really horrific week and you've just been dumped, or it's just life's not going how you thought it was going to, you didn't get the job you applied for, and you sit with a mate and they just say, do you know what, that's so tough. And they say, but let me say, this is what I love about you. These are the things that I think are brilliant about you. It brings life. All of us have the power to do that, to affirm others. Often though, we think it and we don't say it. And really the point of this is just to say, let's not just think it, let's say it. Let's speak it out. And for me, I know, because I'm a little bit English, I don't have Mike's kind of Greek, Mike doesn't have a problem with this, but I tend to be really quite reserved, and I think, people don't need encouraging from me, and who am I to do that? And it'll just be a bit embarrassing for them and for me. And so I can keep my mouth shut. And I'm realizing, actually, if I do that, I just miss opportunity after opportunity to enable and facilitate life in people. And one of the things that really struck me yesterday when I was thinking about this is at the baptism of Jesus. If you read that story in Mark's Gospel, what happens is Jesus comes up out of the water of baptism and the Heavenly Father affirms him. He verbally affirms the Son. Now, if there's anyone who could think, I probably don't need to say anything because they probably already know that I love them and I think they're great, it's the Father in heaven. He might be up there thinking, well, I am love, right? So he's going to know. The Son, the Father must think, the Son's going to know that I love him. He's the Son. He's the only begotten Son. So he's been around forever, for always. We've always been in a relationship of love from before the beginning. He's perfectly secure because he is the Son. He's divine. And let's add into the fact that we are actually one because we are Trinity. So, hey, if there's anyone who probably doesn't need me to tell him that I love him and I'm proud of him, it's my only begotten Son. And yet, God the Father speaks to God the Son, and he says to him, you are my Son whom I love. With you I am well pleased. He verbally affirms the Son. Why? I wish I could begin to explain it, but I don't know. But one of the things that I do think I know is he says it because there's a power in words and because they bring life. It's fascinating to me that the Spirit also falls on Jesus in that moment. And so it's the words of the Father and the presence in the Spirit together. If it's only ever our presence and not our words, it's incomplete, and vice versa. But we're talking about words. So the Father speaks these words over Jesus. The words are tender. The words are affirming. I'm well pleased with you. The words are loving. I love you. And it's unconditional. Jesus hasn't begun his ministry yet. He hasn't got started. And the Father just says to him, I just love who you are. I love who you are. He speaks it. The application of this, obviously, is who do you think wonderful things about? Who do you admire? Who do you see brilliant things in? Say it to them. Everybody needs affirmation. Everybody needs encouragement. Say it. You think, they already know that. Tell them anyway. I've said that to them 100 times. Say it again. Say it again. There is a tremendous power in the tongue, and it's a power to bring life. Let's use it to tell people we love them, to tell them we're proud of them, and to call life out from them today.